one of the big topics from AEW, especially this week, was the idea of, are there too many factions? And if the factions in AEW are starting to become a bad thing. Because they got the Dark Order, they just had the Nightmare Family split into two different factions. They've got Pac and his group with the Nightmare, or I'm sorry, the Death Triangle. They've got the Pinnacle. They've got the Inner Circle. They've the Jungle Express or whatever. They've got all these different factions, and a lot of people online are saying, when enough's enough. Maybe you guys need to pull back a little bit on it. But
So here's,
yeah,
go
as I was going to say, the bright side of it is, in my opinion, is by having all these other lesser known wrestlers in these factions, they get screen time. And you actually get to develop in matches that pit the factions against each other, and you branch out a little bit that way. But there's a lot of people who feel like they're overdoing it. So, that's valid
I
criticism.
mean, every wrestling company has had factions.
Yeah,
But not 15 at one time.
that's the
New
argument.
Japan though, New Japan had a bunch of them, and all those guys
Yeah,
who
that's
came from there
good point.
were in factions.
The Bullet
just
Clubs and all that stuff. Yeah.
You're
So,
talking
like-
about Japanese wrestling to American wrestling. It's like you're apples to oranges.
Yeah,
Good point.
I
But
understand that, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so, but that was their comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's what they knew how to do, and then they would take certain stars out of their in those factions, and then push them certain ways. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I mean, but inevitably they all end up like they always do. Somebody will be the big star, and then everybody get pushed out. It's kind of like a default formula that works in the short term, not really the long term, because you don't want it to turn into an NWO thing where everybody's a part of this faction and there's no single stars.
at least there's more than one faction. NWO was just, well, they split
one
into,
entity. That,
yeah,
well,
I
they
mean,
split into two.
yeah, they split into two, but yeah,
But
for the
then,
most part.
even in that, so you had NWO.
Well, there was a few
everybody
others.
and their grandmother joined,
Yeah.
and then NWO Wolfpack. But out of the Wolfpack spurned the Filthy Animals. So it was like,
Don't forget the LWO.
Yeah,
and the LW.
I mean, there was a few others, but for the most part, it was the NWO. But in this case, there's 15, and you got to remember too, a lot of these guys like Kenny Omega and these guys who have been to Japan, so they, have had all those factions, and maybe they're taking that formula a little bit, maybe trying to put it in AEW.
But you're not doing anything necessarily with these factions except for the Pinnacle and Inner Circle. They're the only ones that right now have this kind of. Well, I guess now with Nightmare Family and
they've got some brooding clashes between factions and different. So they're doing some stuff with all the other ones, but I honestly think the biggest reason they're doing this is they're building to Blood and Guts, which is their version of War Games. They were going to do it last year, but the pandemic happened, and now the fans are slowly starting to come back. I think they want to start the build because they want to do that to kick off real big, like a big pay-per-view event once they get fans back. That's what I think they're doing. I honestly think we ought to just maybe do a wait-and-see approach with it. I know a lot of people don't care for AEW. I understand it. I am probably the defender of AEW in this group. I actually do enjoy it.
Your camera is frozen on my screen.
Oh, well, hopefully it'll work itself out. But can y'all still hear me?
Hey, man, this is just the first night.
Yeah. So as long as you can hear me, we're good. We'll work out the kinks. But yeah, so I think we'll see what they do. But I get it. I get AEW's not everybody's cup of tea. I do. But to me, I think the thing I like the most about AEW is at least a lot of times their booking decisions make more sense. I get it. They have a lot of botches. They have some green wrestlers. Some of them maybe shouldn't even be on television yet. But the downside is they don't have a lot of like house shows to do. I think that's what the dark shows are for, more for them to get some seasoning and some experience. And once they get that, I think they'll be better on the television shows. But they're still young. I want to give them a chance. But yeah, I totally understand it. I just like them more from a storyline booking standpoint for the most part.
I get it, man.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I mean, I'm probably the harshest critic of AEW out of this group.
And they do deserve criticism. Yeah.
I do. I really want to see something else other than WWE. I want them to succeed, but I just have, much like how you feel sometimes with WWE, is how I feel with AEW. It's very hard to justify a lot of those things. Plus, I'm a Jim Cornette guy. What can I say?
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I mean, I was one of the first people to say I thought that the whole Christian announcement, that was botched. I thought that was a bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why they did it, the way they did it. They were trying to create a buzz, but I think when you do that, you've got to deliver. Or undersell it and then over deliver, but don't oversell it and under deliver.
Yeah.
But
and it was one of those things that was like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Christian's terrible. That
he's serviceable and he'll be a good hand. He will. But
when you build it up to like, I'm thinking, Roman Reigns just defected. You had some top star that was huge, and then
I thought Brock
gonna throw it there.
I honestly thought it was Brock.
I mean, there's talks of Angle being the guy,
and I heard CM Punk too at times. So there's a lot of.
Anything that AEW is going to do with the mystery star coming in is going to be fucking Punk.
Like at this point, let it go. It's
not
going to happen.
If it does, it does. If it doesn't, we don't need to be expecting it though. And even if it
does,
on
anything Punk coming back, it's gonna finally be when it does die down.
Yeah,
that's when he'll return.
And then when he does, what does he got left at that point? I mean, who knows? I mean,
look, man, we've seen his MMA career. I mean, at least he did it. I'll give him that.
We'll give him credit for trying. For effort.
At least he did it. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
He did it.
I mean, got more guts than I do. I'd have gotten murdered. So
you got exactly what he did.
What he did.
Yeah. At least he didn't lose a finger. I heard some guy lost a finger this last week.
No, thank you. How you lose a finger? Like,
and an MMA,
did he get caught on the fence?
Apparently, I don't know. I saw the photos Punk was posting, and it was about some guy lost a finger in a fight.
Lost a finger in an MMA match.
Yeah, but anyhow, that's neither here nor there.
Whole finger, like half.
It was completely gone.
Bro,
yeah,
damn.
How hard you gotta hit a motherfucker and knock his finger off?
I thought I heard somewhere they were telling people to look for it.
Oh no! I know what this is. No,
was it not real?
I believe. No, he threw. I think he threw a punch, and his finger. I don't know. It got exposed or something, and it jammed so bad it compound fractured. That's why it was just dangling. I know what you're talking about.
Never mind.
That's
gross.
Well, it may have just been the picture I saw too, but it looked like
that would be a worse situation.
Cut it off.
Either way. But yeah, I think they were looking. Sorry for everybody who's got squeamish stomachs, but anyhow. All right. So that's all for the wrestling portion of the podcast. I think we're going to move into a little bit of some movie talk a little bit to kind of end the show up here and put a nice little bow on it.
Before we go into the movie, I was looking on Twitter just now. Apparently Rey Mysterio's in the trending section because apparently people are seeing him without his mask. And are freaking out about it.
Watch WCW about 20 years ago.
Yeah, I say.
Did you say he's in one of the trending section?
Yeah, like it popped. I went into the search and it was there.
Are we sure this isn't like a COVID thing where they're making fun for not wearing a mask, or is it just like
no? There's pictures of him and his daughter and with Dominic without his wrestling mask.
Okay. Well, I think I did see some stuff going around earlier, but
people are like, "What?"
I mean,
well, you got to think too, though.
Yeah, late.
In WWE, filthy animals, and he didn't have his mask on.
Yeah.
Most of the people that would be like freaking out about it now was probably Ania's age, or not even born.
Yeah, people who watch WWE have probably never seen him without a mask, so I get it. But I mean, it's his personal life.
I just found it hilarious. It's like,
but you could have Googled Rey Mysterio and you could find pictures of him without it.
Oh yeah, and I get a lot of people.
You can see him in the ring in the WCW on that night.
It's just a lot of WWE's audience. Like it or not, and sometimes we complain about the booking and storyline stuff, but we're not the target audience for WWE anymore.
No,
we're not. When I was 10 years old, when we all fell in love with it, we were the target audience. It's just Vince is not
crotching everybody.
Yeah. No, and we grew up, but we were teenagers.
That's a little bit beyond my time.
Yeah, and we were teenagers when all that stuff happened. But now
we was this. We weren't. We was.
Yeah, we were Ric Flair, woo! All that stuff. The limousine ride.
That was the
jet flying,
ruthless aggression.
Yeah, all that stuff. But now, now it's funny how WWE's like target audience, especially in the ratings, is 50-some years old and older. Like that's their biggest audience. Well,
that's because AEW exists, and it's
and they get a lot more than younger audience.
Sweet 18 to whatever the end of that scale is.
Right, but hey, you can't.
That's because children have a short attention span, so you got to do.
Well, that and you can't.
I've got a short attention span,
and you do. Yeah, and you can't fault WWE. They're making money hand over fist. They get these billion-dollar deals.
Last year, they made a profit last year despite the pandemic.
Yeah, they made more money last year without fans than I mean,
look, made enough money.
People got pissed about that.
They can. can take. They got so much cock money. They're good. They don't have to worry about a thing.
No. When you're getting $1 billion deals from Fox and Peacock, you ain't got to worry about nothing. All right, so
the Saudi deal.
yeah, that too. Yeah.